The Nintendo Spotlight is just a few short days away. Tuesday, June 13th will be here before we know it, and we now have new information about the length of Nintendo's E3 show. What's up, everybody? It's Zach from Switchforce. Jake and Gabe are here, and a little report, a little press release here about Nintendo Treehouse Live at E3 states that it will be starting about 9:30 a.m. on the morning of Tuesday, June 13th. That gives the Spotlight only about 30 minutes of runtime. Now, people were hoping for a 45 minute show like some of the directs at past E3s. Now we've condensed it down to about 30 minutes. Is this going to be a problem for announcements and what we're hoping to see?
We can like look at this in a number of ways, and I'm sure we'll discuss those throughout the video. But I think at the very first knee-jerk reaction is to feel disappointed, right? Because 30 minutes isn't that long. Microsoft and Sony, they have way longer presentations, and those are press conferences, so it's obviously very different. Nintendo gets very straight to the point. They show a lot of gameplay, and they go through trailers. They throw a bunch of information at you very quickly. But I think we can safely say that, well, at least 2 out of 3 of us, I haven't spoken with Jake about how he feels about it. We were a little disappointed at first, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, considering that their April 12th Direct was about 35 minutes, and this is supposed to be the biggest week in gaming, it's always they still could announce amazing things in this 30 minutes, but it's always a little bit just of a head scratcher. Why do they choose not to, at least from the outside perspective, go all out in the same way that Microsoft and Sony and some other companies do?
Yeah, but I think that hopefully this means that they won't have a lot of on stage talking time in between, or weird demonstrations like drummers or other things, and it'll just be lots of gameplay
Wii
footage.
Music is my favorite game of E3 history.
Yeah, and just lots of not a lot of skits and other things, and just hopefully a lot of trailers and teasers and things like that, and kind of pack it in, and then save their sort of demos and discussions for their Treehouse event during E3.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the Treehouse is going to focus on both Switch and 3DS. They say that they're going to have, detailed looks at Super Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Tournament DX. They'll have the CEO of the Pokemon Company there. They'll be talking about development, game experts. They run that show throughout all 3 days of E3, which is an awesome experience because you do get so much more depth and detail. An interesting perspective is that the most recent non-game specific Direct, obviously the ARMS Direct was handled in a bit of a different way because it was so tied to that one game. But the most recent Direct had a news ticker style, and it just kind of ran through the announcements one after another. So do we think that's what's going to happen? And perhaps the shortened runtime doesn't really mean reduced announcements. Merely they're just going to go for, you said, a no BS, no fun skits, no nothing, just announcement, trailer, gameplay, trailer, gameplay, trailer, that sort of style.
Well, I've come to terms with what I think is going to happen at the presentation. I think we know every single thing that's coming, for the most part, right? There might be 1 or 2 little indie games that we don't know about, but we'll hopefully, fingers crossed, this is my big hope now. This is where my hype lies. I want a release date for Xenoblade. I want a release date for Fire Emblem, an actual firm date, not October 12th or something like that. So I want release dates for that. I want a release date for Rabbids. And if I get those 3 things, and we get a consistent barrage of big game this month, big game that following month, a big game the next month, and leading into Mario Odyssey, I think I'm happy. I just want release dates. I just want Xenoblade to look good and not be delayed. I want these things to come out. I think the ship has sailed on a major Metroid announcement. I don't even know why I feel.
Really?
I don't even know why I feel that way. It's just that I would imagine that if they're making a big Metroid announcement, you need some time for that, right? And 30 minutes total, to cover all of these things. I don't know.
Really, how much time do you need though? We have maybe they're not announced it the full package, but maybe they could still throw in a teaser trailer somewhere in there easily.
Well, a lot of people have now come to the conclusion that, okay, when they said we're focusing on 2017, we thought that was kind of just a general statement, but maybe that is a factual statement because this is only 30 minutes now. Do they have time to even get through Super Mario Odyssey, Mario plus Rabbids, Fire Emblem Warriors, Xenoblade 2, Pokemon Tournament DX? Obviously, there's going to be some sort of mention of ARMS and Splatoon 2. Do they have time to even get to anything beyond that? There absolutely is going to be.
Don't even waste a minute on ARMS. Not because I don't like ARMS. I actually love ARMS quite a bit. It's just that the game is out that week. No, come on.
But I think it's an interesting style that Nintendo's kind of going for now with these kind of any time they could have a direct and announce a new game and show footage of it. And it's sort of, I don't know if it's better or worse per se, but it's working for the Switch so far. And instead of putting all their eggs in the E3 basket and showing everything off there for the next, year, then now they have sort of where you're kind of always on your toes, and they could announce a direct at any time and show you not the extent of a full E3 presentation, but a piece of it, like that same caliber of reveal information at any time, anywhere. So it's kind of an interesting drip feed of reveals throughout the year. And I guess the limiting of down to 30 minutes does not make me think that, like Nintendo has backed down and they're running out of things to show or running out of games in development or things like that. I think it's just they're choosing, like you said, like to focus on 2017 and just give you kind of in the immediate, and then once you the hype train for those games runs out and you buy them and it kind of dies down, then they can give you a new direct with a new announcement for a new game and kind of constantly keep the wheels turning on the Switch, as opposed to showing you everything at E3 and then you just wait throughout the year for the games to come out.
So,
well, I'm absolutely fine with like the more in-depth directs like we got on ARMS, but I still like the gamer in me, the fan in me would still rather see a bunch of announcements at E3 and then detail them down the road. But it's almost like they're taking kind of that like Bethesda approach. Okay, like Pokemon Tournament DX is announced on June 6th and it's releasing September 22nd, and then by all predictions, E3 is going to be similar of like, okay, we're showing games that are coming out in the next 5 months and not much beyond that. And so maybe they are just choosing to have much more control over their announcements, much more, you'd think, quality if you wait till closer to release, and they've just kind of taken that approach that more resembles Apple or Bethesda, where it's like, hey, we're not going to announce things too far in advance. We'd rather just highlight them as they come and keep, like you said, a more consistent release. I still think you can release information drip feed throughout the year and have big announcements at E3. So I hope they're able to find the best of both worlds. But I'm beginning to set my dial to only expect 2017 and maybe one tease at the end for something 2018.
Maybe they don't even mention 2018, and that's another reason why I'm kind of lowering my hype levels for this Metroid thing. Because at first I kind of really thought it was going to happen. Now I really don't. I think they are fully focusing on 2017, and you know how there was a tweet that said, "Oh, there's a direct tomorrow discussing the future of Pokemon." I think they do that for Metroid. Like, hey, we're discussing the future of Metroid, on this date at this time here. Come check it out. Like, a lot of people watch these things. We were watching the Japanese stream of the Pokemon Direct. There was 80,000 people. There was another 50,000 people on Twitch. So people are tuned in. And they don't need a lot of notice. Nintendo could just decide one day.
But don't you think that caters more towards current Switch owners, whereas the goal of announcing things beyond 2017 would be to provide a roadmap for potential Switch buyers?
Sure, but then...
But there's enough already coming out that you don't need, how much more do you need to show them? You have
I don't
ARMS
think you
and
need
Splatoon 2
it. I think
and
it's just
Mario
nice to
Odyssey.
know that... It's just nice to know that support is coming beyond Mario.
Obviously not going to fall off and be like, 2018, we have no games, so sorry.
Well, that was a concern with Wii U.
Look at it this way, right? Microsoft traditionally, this is going to be a weird year for them because they have a brand new console coming. But in the past, they don't put out as... Let's try to count just off the top of our heads, in a calendar year, the exclusive that come to Microsoft or whatever. We have Forza, a Gears or Halo. We never get both of them at the same time. Then we'll get something like Rise of the Tomb Raider. So we'll get a handful, maybe 4 or 5 exclusives, right? On that console. This year for Switch, we have Zelda, we have Mario Kart, we have Pokken, we have Fire Emblem, we have Xenoblade, we have Mario Odyssey, we have Rabbids. That's 7 right there.
Where that argument is flawed, though, is because Nintendo is responsible for holding up at least, as of right now, 70% of the Switch releases, as opposed to Microsoft is responsible, for maybe 5%, 8%.
Sure.
So
yeah,
I feel like I'm okay with it as a Switch owner. I just feel like in order to better position the Switch for the holiday, it would be nice for people to know, hey, if I get one for Christmas, what the heck am I looking forward to in 2018? And like you said, Jake, maybe they do have a direct closer to Mario where they, detail some features of Mario and also say, plus, here's our, next 4 months of releases for 3DS and Switch. And that's great. I just feel like now is a time when you have the spotlight and the eyeballs of the more mainstream media and the mainstream audience that could be potential Switch buyers. So why not tantalize them a little bit with the future? And maybe they still will. Like we said, they have adopted a new format that seems to be just much more of a speedy announce. So perhaps this 30-minute Switch-focused spotlight will bust out a whole bunch.
I mean, there's a couple issues. They can't keep up with the demand for Switches already. That's one thing. Second thing, they already have some of their best games that are going to come out in the next couple years, and Zelda and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe are already out. So like trying to tantalize people with new games to buy a Switch. Well, some of their best games that they're going to have in the next couple years are already out on the Switch. And 3, the only thing I hope that they don't do is talk about ARMS and Splatoon 2 and Pokemon in their 30 minutes. Like if they cut it down to 30 minutes and still talk about all these games.
No, they will not mention Pokemon. They won't.
With Nintendo,
Pokemon,
I don't make any guarantees.
The other thing to remember is that Treehouse is there immediately after, so it's totally possible that they're like, hey, announce, Fire Emblem Warriors, and then, a detailed gameplay demonstration will be at the Treehouse. Or they announce, a new Metroid and a detailed gameplay demonstration at the Treehouse. That's something that they have done in the past, and that's something that they totally could do. So 30 minutes is just for the announcements. They have far beyond that to show them. So if you kind of combine those two together, it does equate more to the Sony or Microsoft style press conference where they get on stage, talk, make a big announcement, and then bring out the studio to play it for you. So that can still happen. I think I'm really crossing my fingers that they choose to go beyond what was already announced at the freaking January Switch reveal.
Yeah, I mean, and we definitely want to we want to know what you guys think about this 30-minute thing. Like, you obviously leave comments, and we'll see about that. But I do have one more question here regarding E3 and Nintendo. Do we think that they ever have a traditional press conference again? Because I thought, like, when that first happened, when they went away from that, I thought it was going to last like a year or two, and then they'd be back to doing like fully traditional conferences. And it doesn't seem like they're going to. I miss it personally.
Yeah, but the press conferences usually leave Zach really disappointed. So I hope for his sake to never go back to them.
I think it kind of. I guess the better judgment says no, they will never return to that. I think it would depend on what is the future of E3. If E3, as it has ebbed and flowed, ends up having a resurgence in a couple of years in some capacity, new technology, new mode of play, new something, I don't think Nintendo would be opposed to returning in that fashion. But as of the current state and E3 kind of slimming down, yeah, I don't think that they're going to ever be back and embrace sort of the spectacle of it. For whatever reason, they like to do things on their own. Their own pace, their own style. And this year it's been working out, and I think some people are more confident due to the fact that, okay, Switch has been successful. They have kept their promises. They are releasing a lot. There's been a bunch of announcements. But I hope that they don't then view E3 as just another thing to pass by. I feel like they need to still treat it as the mega moment that it is for gaming, because every other publisher is going to, and if they don't, it just looks bad. Maybe it doesn't pan out bad. Maybe it doesn't end up affecting, our enjoyment of the Switch, but I still think just from a mindshare standpoint, it would look better if they did give 2 reasons why you should be a Switch owner in 2018, and I hope we get to see that. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, what you think about 30 minutes, if you're worried, if you're not worried, and how you feel this will all pan out next week. It's getting so close. We cannot wait. Hit that like button if you're excited for it. Make sure to subscribe and stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from Nintendo, the Spotlight, the Treehouse, and Switch Force at E3. We'll be there and bring you as much coverage as we possibly can, hands-on impressions, reactions, and more. Until then, though, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. For myself, Jake, and Gabe, Switch Force out.